The city once believed in hope, in heroes, in change. That belief is fragile, and when it breaks, it burns. He was their symbol, Thanatim, the voice of the people, the face of reform. Then came the scandal, the trial, the silence. And from that silence, something darker emerged, a phantom. Not to save the city, but to punish it. Now, Bangkok is bleeding, the skyline burns. The king is gone, and the clock is running out. This is no longer a fight for justice. This is a game, and there's only one move left to play. The Gamemaster's Ultimatum 2. Bangkok is in flames. Smoke snakes upward from the skeletal remains of skyscrapers, their glass facades shattered, steel frames exposed. The Chao Phraya River glistens with the reflection of distant fires, blood red, flickering across the black water. Sirens scream from every direction, echoing through the maze of crumbling streets. The skyline, once proud, now trembles in silence. The air is thick with ash. The heat is suffocating. This is no longer a city of dreams, only a battlefield of survival. The market square exploded without warning. A deafening roar shook the ground. Flames shot skyward, tearing through tops and rooftops. Wood splintered, metal twisted. Debris rained down like burning confetti. Vendors dropped everything. Children screamed. Shoppers trampled one another trying to escape. Smoke rolled in thick waves, swallowing color, sound, and sense. Moments ago, it was a place of laughter and life. Now, only chaos remained. Scorched earth and sirens. The war had reached the heart of the people. They called it untouchable, a vault buried beneath layers of steel and silence. But when the dust settled, it was empty. The cement floor, cracked and cold, held no riches now, only the ghost of billions once hoarded in secret. Gold, cash, proof of betrayal, gone. A gaping hole in the far wall marked the only clue: precision, planning, revenge. It wasn't just a heist, it was a message. The Gamemaster's war didn't begin with bombs. It began with justice, twisted into vengeance. It appeared overnight, a white mask, painted across the scorched walls of ruined government buildings, smiling, watching. The mark wasn't just a signature, it was a declaration. White Phantom was here, and he wasn't hiding. To the people, it was a symbol of rebellion. To the authorities, it was mockery. A slap in the face of power. Every mask left behind whispered the same truth: you were never in control. Engines rode down the private airstrip. A convoy of black luxury cars sliced through the smoke, escorted by silence and shame. Behind tinted windows, a frail figure slumped in the back seat, the king, barely visible. No words, no speeches, just the quiet retreat of a dynasty in its final breath. The palace gates had opened, not in triumph, but in surrender. Television screens across the nation flickered to life. The headlines hit like gunshots. King in exile. Prime Minister paralyzed. Chaos reigns. Anchors spoke in tense whispers. The graphics spun. Numbers climbed. No comfort. No answers. Only confirmation. The country was falling, and the world was watching. The cameras rolled. The lights were blinding. And at the center, the Prime Minister, crumbling. Tears streaked down her cheeks as she clutched the podium, voice shaking, words faltering. Behind her, aides shifted uncomfortably, their eyes darting, their confidence gone. No one stepped forward. No one took charge. What stood before the nation wasn't leadership. It was collapse, broadcast live. He sat in silence, eyes fixed on the screen as the world unraveled. The Prime Minister wept, the city burned, and the opposition leader did nothing. His hands trembled, his jaw was clenched, but he never rose, never spoke. In a moment that cried out for courage, he offered only silence. And silence can be just as loud as betrayal. Thanatim moved through the ruins beneath the city. Collapsed tunnels stretched ahead, broken, breathless. The air was thick with dust and rusted silence. Graffiti scarred the walls, faded symbols and angry words smeared across concrete. Far off, twisted steel groaned like a wounded animal. Each echo reminded him, this place was once alive. Now it was a tomb. And somewhere in this darkness, answers waited. At the end of the tunnel, a rusted metal door stood crooked in its frame. Thanatim's eyes locked onto the words scrawled in thick black paint, "Meet me where the sky bleeds into the river." No signature, no timestamp, just a sentence, dripping with intent, not a threat, not a plea. Summons from the one ghost he still had to face. The streets were filled with shadows and smoke. Citizens gathered, not in protest, but in desperation. Their faces flickered in the red glow of distant fires, eyes wide with fear or fury. Some cried, holding each other in silence. Others screamed into the chaos, demanding justice from a world that had stopped listening. Hope hadn't died, but it was bleeding. Thanatim glanced down. The phone's screen flickered, cracked but still ticking. 15:32, the final hour had begun. No more warnings, no more questions. Every second from here was borrowed time. High above the chaos, a figure stood still on a rooftop edge. A white mask hid his face, its surface cracked, like porcelain left too long in the fire. City lights flickered below, casting glimmers across the mask's lifeless smile. He didn't move. He didn't need to. He was watching and waiting. The past hit like a wound reopened. Thanatim remembered the courtroom. Cold, crowded, merciless. The minister's smug smile burned into his mind, unchallenged, untouched. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted, every word twisted, every headline sharpened. Then came the gavel. A single crack that shattered everything. Not just a verdict, a betrayal. Thanatim tore through the streets on two wheels, engines screaming beneath him. Smoke choked the air, thick with fire and fear. He weaved through burning wreckage, dodging overturned cars and falling debris. The city blurred past, a war zone lit by flame and fury. There was no time to think. Only to move, and every second counted. The streets erupted. Protesters surged forward, faces lit by fire and fury. They hurled debris at riot shields, screaming through tear gas and sirens. Their chants weren't just noise, they were rage given voice. A cry born from betrayal. The system had failed them, and now they were done waiting. In a room veiled in shadow, he watched it all unfold. White phantom, still masked, still smiling. Screens flickered before him. Fire, panic, betrayal, his masterpiece in motion. Then came the laughter. Low, broken, twisted with triumph and something darker. Not madness. Meaning. This wasn't chaos to him. It was clarity. Thanatim's eyes burned, not with fear, but with fire. His grip tightened around the handlebars, knuckles pale, breath steady. The city blazed behind him. The clock kept ticking. But at this moment, he was done running. Whatever came next, he would face it head-on. The city's fate was no longer in someone else's hands. It was in his. Thanatim froze. A red dot danced across his chest, steady, deliberate. A sniper watched and waited somewhere above, hidden in the shadows of a distant rooftop. No warning, no voice, just the hum of danger. The game wasn't over, and death was still in play. The river came into view, vast, silent, waiting. At its edge stood a decrepit pier, weathered by time, forgotten by the world. The sky above blood crimson, smeared with smoke and fire, spilling into the dark waves below. This was the place where the sky met the water, where the game would end, or everything else would.